Hey guys, welcome officially to nearly the end of 2019 and just about 2 weeks away now, less than 2 weeks away from the start of a new decade. So interesting. I feel like this year has completely flown by. It seemed like just a couple weeks ago, I remember thinking that we were halfway through the third quarter back in the fall. And now all of a sudden, here we are. We're down to the winding hours left in 2019, and so I wanted to kind of go over and review. I've been following obviously trends throughout the year, throughout the last couple of years. We've seen a big shift in the South Jersey and particularly the Atlantic County and Cape May County real estate markets, in that we went through a period of historic highs in terms of the number of bank-owned properties that were being sold. A lot of those numbers have declined over the course of this calendar year. And we've also seen a recovery in some of the economic trends. We've got unemployment rates that aren't as low as the rest of the country, but they've certainly rebounded remarkably in the last couple of years. We've got some employment growth in some sectors that are new to the region, which is exciting. Healthcare expanded greatly. Education expanded greatly. So we've got a healthy market that we're in right now as we enter 2020. And so one of the biggest concerns, and I'm going to share my screen here, and some numbers from some national numbers. And so as I share my screen, we can see that basically the biggest issues that we're going to be dealing with as we enter 2020 are basically three things: inventory, interest rates, and appreciation. So if we take a second and just kind of think about that, we've gone through now, over the course of the last couple of years, we've gone through an enormous increase in bank-owned inventory. We've also, while the market was in a decline over the period of the last 10 years, we saw basically new construction come to a complete halt, right? So demand obviously fell off as we hit, post-crisis in 2009, 10, and 11. We subsequently saw no new homes being built. And then once the foreclosures and going back to 2012, 2011, 12, and we had that moratorium on foreclosures, they finally started to hit the market. We saw our peak levels of foreclosure activity in 2015, 16, 17. That's also when we saw our biggest price declines occur in the region. And now all of a sudden we're at a point where a lot of that foreclosure inventory has been absorbed, and we're back to more, not long-term normal levels of foreclosures, but we're back to lower levels, certainly by half. The number of bank-owned sales that have occurred so far year to date in Atlantic County in 2019 is down 50% from 1 year ago. So a big change there. So inventory, as we dive into this, right, the three big issues: inventory, interest rates, and appreciation, right? So inventory we're seeing at record lows right now. Interest rates we're seeing after a spike that essentially stalled the market at the end of 2018, have rebounded and recovered back down to historic lows again, and interest rates are still wildly attractive right now. The third item, appreciation, we're now on our third consecutive year of some solid appreciation, and if you viewed any of the recent reports that you can find on dwellsouthjersey.com, you'll see even in the third quarter we were up double digits, over 10% across the board in Atlantic County. Those big gains essentially, and I explained in a video that I did after that report, can be attributed to the fact that we're seeing a lot less bank-owned inventory sell, a lot less bank-owned homes sell. So when you take the percentage of homes being sold, and the percentage reached its peak in 2016 and 17, we were well up over 20%. Now we're down into low teens. We're actually in the third quarter, we were at 9%. As we move into 2020, we're going to continue single digit and get back down to historic percentages, which are more like 4 or 5%, in my opinion. I think we're going to see a lot more appreciation as we enter 2020 nationally, but even more so, I think we'll continue locally to outperform the rest of the country and expect to see some high appreciation in the beginning of 2020 here in Atlantic County. And so that's essentially what we're dealing with. Three things: inventory, interest rates, and appreciation. The biggest issue, however, is going to be inventory. If we look at some of these national quotes, right, there's several factors. Realtor.com chief economist Lawrence Yun, who I've met with several times, right, despite increases in new construction, next year will once again fail to bring a solution to the inventory shortage that has plagued the housing market since 2015. Inventory could not reach a historic low as a steady flow of demand, especially for entry-level homes, and declining seller sentiment combined to keep a lid on sales transactions. So this is now a national sentiment. You got to kind of take a scope out and recognize, right? Real estate's always local. So locally, we're dealing with an even bigger issue of inventory shortage because we haven't had new construction recover at high levels. And we also have a big fall off in the one segment of the market that has supplied the high, the relatively high demand at entry level, which were the bank-owned sales. Now we're selling through all of those and there's not many left, right? So now we're dealing with a bigger issue in terms of inventory. As we scroll down, Diane Olick, who's the chief housing correspondent for CNBC, inventory has been falling annually for 5 straight months. After it recovered slightly towards the end of last year due to a spike in mortgage rates, right? Rates began falling again by spring this year. Home builders have been increasing production slowly, but it's not enough to meet the increasingly strong demand. Again, we continue to have strong demand. We don't have new homes being built, nor do I see an influx of new construction coming to the South Jersey, Atlantic County market as we hit 2020. Lastly, senior economist with Realtor.com, as millennials, the largest cohort of buyers in U.S. history, embrace home ownership and take advantage of this year's unexpectedly low mortgage rates, demand is outstripping supply, causing inventory to vanish. The housing shortage is felt acutely at the entry level of the market, where most millennials are looking to break into the market for their first home. Now, important detail here, right? When we speak to inventory, we also, if you look at my annual or my quarterly market reports, I speak to the segmentation of the market, how the market's very different at entry level than it is at the top of the market. At entry level, we have very little inventory, and my prediction, my expectation is, as we move into 2020, continued growth and appreciation at entry level and rising prices, right? Also expect to see multiple offers. Expect it to be kind of a frustrating experience again this coming spring if you're a first-time home buyer. As you move up in price points, as you move into move-up buyers, that's a healthy market right now too. And when I say a move-up home, I would describe that as a home that's somewhere between 1.5 to 2.5 times what median is in your town. That's a typical move-up home. That market is relatively stable. It's balanced. In most of the towns in South Jersey, we're seeing somewhere between a 5 and 6 or 7 month supply of inventory in that segment. But when you move up into more of the premium segment, still a little bit of a challenging market, still some extraordinary opportunities to be a buyer at that segment. It's absolutely probably the historically best time to be looking at the home of your dreams today, because you can buy a home at the top of the market, not have enormous competition as a buyer, really have the choice, the choice of your dreams, and be able to buy it at the cost of money that's lower than it's ever been, historically. So great opportunities there for move-up buyers. But to kind of summarize, right, what we're looking at is understanding just what this low inventory means. If you understand and you are a seller or someone that has considered possibly making a move up in this market, there's realistically never been a more attractive time. If you're a seller and you have an entry-level home or even a move-up home that's more affordably priced, there's never been a better opportunity than heading into the spring, because you've got literally the lowest inventory than we've ever had. We have no increased competition, coming forward. And if you're looking to have, net the best potential outcome before we start to see a return of homes on the market, now's the time to do that. So that's my outlook for 2020. I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions about what to expect from or the value of your home, or how to make the best decision for you and your family, please don't hesitate to reach out. I hope that the information that we share contributes to perhaps some of the best information that you can find available here locally. So thank you very much. Any questions, we're here. We look forward to helping and being a part of your plans in 2020. Have a happy holiday season and a fantastic new year. Thank you.